Ohayou gozaimasu, samurais Ashigaru, Kami, and so on. Welcome to Bushido Risen Sun by GCT Studios. After a good reception of the first video, I decided to continue with this series as one of my means to not be shackled by Games Workshop and YouTube algorithm while this channel is new, so I want to focus on more than just one system. I have ordered Conflict 47, and once my army arrives I will do videos on it as well. But this is not the time nor the place. So today we are taking a look at the data cards or profile cards and how to read them. Hopefully this will be a short but informative video, as I found a lack of content when it comes to Bushido Risen Sun on YouTube, and I would like to maybe try and fill the little void that's been on the on the internet. I am playing Shiho clan. This is my main faction, so today we'll be looking at Shiho Misaki and her profile card and how to read her. We'll be starting at the top and then we'll be making our way downwards. Looking at the top left corner of the profile card, we see a little blood splatter and the symbol of the faction. Now, since I play Shiho clan, the symbol of our faction is an eagle with his wings spread in a circle. In the middle of the top card, top center I should say, is the name of the card of the unit, Shiho Misaki, and below it are keywords that this card uses. For Misaki it's loyal and samurai. On top right we have the rise cost, which is 12. Rise cost is basically the amount of points you have to pay for this model. That doesn't include any sort of enhancements or equipments that you can attach to this model. Going on to the top left red seal, we have a picture or a drawing of two swords. This is most likely a representation of a katana and a tanto, or wakizashi. You can see there are two numbers. One is in a black circle and one is as a part of the red seal. What you want to focus on, first of all, is the one in the red seal. Now, Shiho Misaki has a number 2, which means that when she is in melee exchange, she has 2d6 to roll for an attack. Some cards will have a black circle with a number inside of it. That represents the amount of key points you have to spend to boost your pool of dice. So, for example, if Shiho Misaki has 3 key points in her key pool, she can spend those 3 key points to boost her 2 dice pool into 3 dice pool. So that would mean that she would be able to use 3d6 while engaged in melee. Now, not every card will have boosts for melee exchange. Some cards will have key boosts will have a ability to boost, for example, their movement with the key points or their key pool with key points. When it comes to Shiho clan, generally speaking, it's always melee exchange and range attacks that can be boosted. I am yet to see a card, I haven't checked the entire roster, but as far as I can tell, Shiho clan doesn't have any model that can boost its movement or its key points. Going to top right, we have the range dice pool. Seeing there is a number 3 in the red seal, that means when you make a range attack with a card such as Shiho Misaki, she uses 3d6, and then to see her attack dice. As you can see, in the black circle, she has number 3, which means if she again has 3 key points in her key pool, she can spend those points to boost her range attack by +1, meaning instead of 3d6, it will be 4d6. On the bottom left, we have a picture or a drawing of a foot. That represents your movement characteristic. So for Shiho Misaki, the number 4 means she can move 4 inches. Looking to the other side of the page, of the data card, we have a kanji, and that represents the key pool. So there are 2 numbers in red seal, number 2 and number 6. Number 6 is the overall amount that Shiho Misaki can have when it comes to key points. Number 2 is how many key points she generates every turn. So at the start of the first turn, she would have 2 key points out of 6. Second turn, if she doesn't use any key points, she would have 4 out of 6. And in the third turn, if she still doesn't use any of her key points, she would have a max amount of keys she can have, 6 out of 6. Considering that most of the games that I have played last 6 turns, I think the intro game I played had 6 turns. means that you do want to use your key points at some point, because you cannot go above 6, at least in Shiho clan. You cannot. You're just locked at 6. Then going to the drawing of the character, we see a very nice artistic representation of Shiho Misaki. And at the bottom of it, you see 6 white circles. Those are that is the health pool of this unit. So every time this unit takes a damage point, you would mark one of those 6 circles off. When all 6 circles are filled, the unit dies. Going to the center left, we have the melee unit, melee weapon of this unit, called Katana. Below it are special abilities that this unit can use with this weapon. So for example, for Shiho Misaki, Katana allows her to use Counter-Strike defense for 1, sidestep attack for 0, and combo attack for 1. Now, what do these numbers mean? The numbers in the brackets mean that you have to remove a dice from your melee pool when you are using this ability. So, for example, Shiho Misaki has 2 dice in her melee pool. And she wants to use a Counter-Strike defense, which means she has to remove one of those 2 dice from her melee pool, meaning she only has 1d6 to attack with, but if she's successful, she can use the Counter-Strike defense ability. We will go through abilities in a separate video, not this one. This is just a straightforward video about how to read data cards, but that's basically how Counter-Strike defense works. Now for sidestep attack, for example, brackets 0, meaning if you want to use sidestep attack, you can, and because it's 0, you do not remove any dice from the dice pool, from the melee exchange dice pool. Now there is a red seal with the 2 swords, and there's a +1 in it. That means that when you win the exchange, melee exchange, and you go to roll a wound dice, which is 2d6 in general, not counting any modifiers for weak or strong. In general, you would roll 2d6 and then you would add the strength of the weapon, which is +1 in this case, so 2d6 +1. To the right of it, we have a red seal with a bow and arrow +1, and the weapon that Shiho Misaki is using is called Daikyu. Now you can see there's a reload of 1, and there are 3 numbers underneath the red seal. Now, the +1 on the red seal is exactly the same as in the case of the katana. When you hit the enemy with a range attack and you roll the damage, you roll 2d6 +1. The reload 1 means that after the model finishes using its range weapon to attack the enemy, you add 1 reload marker to your model, meaning before you shoot, you have to reload the weapon. And because it's reload 1, you only have to wait 1 turn. Now, what do the 3 numbers below the red seal mean? 5, 10, 15. This is the range band of the unit. So, if you target a model within 1 to 5 inches, the difficulty of your shot is a 4, which means you need to roll 4 or higher to hit. If you're shooting at a target that's within 6 to 10 inches, the difficulty of that shot is 5 or higher, so you have to roll a 5 or more to hit. If it's 15 or more, or sorry, if it's 11, within 11 and up to 15, it's difficulty of 6, meaning you need to roll a 6 or higher to score a hit. Now there are different modifiers, such as moving and shooting, which adds additional -1 to the roll, so instead of 6, it would be 7, but we'll go over that in a different video. This is just, as I said, profile reading card. Now, in the bottom center, we have special traits of the unit. So for example, Shiho Misaki has quite a few. Bravery, Booted, Dodge 1, Flank, Prowess, Melee 1, Vengeance, Takahashi. Now, I won't go over these and what they mean in this video, but we'll do it in a separate video. But basically, these are your modifiers to your dice rolls, to enemy dice rolls, any rerolls the model might have, any modifiers to any opposed test or any challenge tests, or any special fancy abilities are basically written there. And then at the very bottom, we have instant, you could call them key point abilities. So for example, for Shiho Misaki, we have Debana and Precision. When you look at the Debana, and to the right of it, there are 3, well, there's a circle, there's a square, and there's a rectangle. The black circle is the amount of key points you need to pay to activate the ability. The black square is when the ability can be triggered, and the creamy or grayish rectangle is how the effect happens. So what do I mean by that? Let's go to the next page. As you can see, the banner is key point of 1, I meaning instant, and PE meaning personal. So after you causing damage in a melee exchange, this model may move away from the defender until it leaves its zone of control, at which point its movement ends. So to activate the banner, you declare it. It's an instant declaration, so you can declare it after the melee exchange. And it's personal, meaning this ability only affects the card, the model that is using this ability. So you after the melee exchange, you would, if you cause any damage to the enemy model, you would spend 1 key point. It would be an instant activation, which means it can be activated right after causing the damage. And it's personal, meaning it only affects Shiho Misaki. Now, precision, it's the exact same. Key point of cost of 1. Instant, personal. So, the way you would use this ability is during, for example, melee exchange, just before you roll the damage or just before you roll the hit rolls, you would declare that, listen, I'm using precision for 1 key point, it's instant, it's personal, I'll activate it now. You would declare it to your opponent. Now, it's not, I believe it's not a hidden information, so you have to declare it to your opponent. I would just to be polite and not to catch your opponent off guard, I would declare it. I would inform your opponent that this model has this ability, and I would declare it at the start of the fight phase. If you want to be gamey, and I think you could declare it after you win the dice roll, after you win the melee exchange, but just for the sake of being clear and not having any gacha moments, I would personally declare it before engaging in melee. Now, some cards also have unique effects. So, for example, Shiho Misaki, at the very bottom you can see, has a unique effect. When this model declares a wait action to remove reload markers, its ranged weapons gain lightweight until the end phase. Now, their unique effects vary quite severely from model to model. Some models have none, some models have very strong unique effects, some models have middling effects like this one. This one can be good, but it's very situational and they're just better abilities. But yes, most of the cards have unique effects, and it's very clear what the effect does because it's clearly written at the bottom of the page at the back of your card. Now, the last thing to mention is bottom right. This little circle with the 30 mm tells you what size the model is and what's the size of the base this model is using. So, for example, Shiho Misaki is on a 30mm base, which is pretty straightforward. So you can never be confused about how big or what's the size of your model. Now, some models may have multiple base size symbols, which means that any of the available options on the card are available to you. So if this model were to have 30mm, 50mm, 60mm, you can use any of those 3, which is pretty sweet, to be honest with you, because it wouldn't limit you as much. Now, of course, most of the models will just have 1, but there might be multiple, so just keep that in the back of your head. If you see two armies from the same clan and they have the same models, but one model might have a base that is different from the other, it could be a case where a card might have 2 available base sizes for it. And I believe that'll be it. I believe I didn't miss anything. This is a first video in a quote-unquote learning series for Bushido Risen Sun. I will be doing another video in a couple of days' time, once I'm not in work, about enhancement cards, event cards, and terrain cards, and team list cards, how to read them and what they do. It's very straightforward, very simple, so the video probably won't be very long, but This is a learning curve, and as I said before, I do want to fill the little gap that I've seen on YouTube about Bushido Risen Soon and the content that's available on YouTube. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, I know that this won't have as big of a reach as my 30k videos, for example. But I am really excited about this game. I've had a couple of games at this point. I have joined my a beginners league with some of my friends to play and learn the game more, because it is actually quite tactical and there's a lot of depth to it, which I really like. As I said at the start, I also ordered Conflict 47, which will be my third system that I will be covering, and I will be mostly focusing on those three: 30k Warhammer, Bushido Risen Sun, and Conflict 47. I have been utterly coerced, no, I wouldn't say coerced, utterly motivated to start a Conflict 47 army by Mordian Glory. And I've seen Discord minis also talk about it with Mordian. And it makes me very excited because I have ordered the Empire of Japan. Because I'm not a weeb, but I really like the aesthetic. So, we'll see how it goes. I'm quite curious to see if Conflict 47 will overtake Bushido in views and engagement. It'll be a little competition that I'll have on the channel. But I hope that both of the systems will do well enough. I recently just crossed 100 subs, which thank you very much. I cannot believe that you all survive my ramblings and want to follow my other odd videos, but hey, here we are. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next one. Go on.